I think we have a mutual understanding on this show between the hosts and you guys who tune in back at home that the interest we have in celebrity award shows and galas and parties starts and ends at mockery. And I'm fine with that. But it seems like, at least from what I gather, celebrities are starting to feel the same way, and they're losing interest in these parties that they throw for themselves. There are a lot of big names absent from the 2025 AMAs. They said the AMAs decided not to televise 90% of the major categories because none of the nominees bothered to show up. And that includes no Taylor Swift, no Sabrina Carpenter, no Olivia Rodrigo, no Gracie Abrams, no Chappell Roan. Taylor Swift was a huge absence from the event because at the last AMAs, she, I believe, announced one of her own re-recorded albums, which was a big deal. A lot of people were expecting her to do the same thing this year. And then someone posted a photo from a past AMAs. In the front row, you see Lorde, Selena Gomez, and Taylor Swift sitting front row. We used to have real celebrities in the front row. And this reminded me of the Met Gala this year, which was also scant in A-listers. I believe they were invited, but they just didn't show up. And there's this tradition every year at the Met Gala where they take a selfie in the bathroom together, which is super obnoxious. And they did it again in 2025, but as you can see in this photo, who are these people? These are all nobodies.
I recognize
like one of them, but I don't know her name.
Andrew Scott. From Sherlock.
But the rest of these people, I have no idea. And you'd think if anyone were able to recognize them, it'd be people who talk about pop culture for a living. I have no idea who these people are. And they're just kind of resorting to a lot of cheap tricks for attention.
I hear the name Lisa all the time.
There's a lot of K-pop stars.
Lisa, all caps.
I don't really differentiate them. J-Lo did a performance at the AMAs where she tried to get some attention by making out with a couple of her background dancers, which was lame. Like, I guess Ben Affleck is punching the air right now.
Can I share my own frustrations with this?
Yeah.
So first I'm going to...
Share your frustration.
My frustrations on this come from the fact that normally when we would cover something like this, Mary would want to talk about, you know, the degenerate nature of all of these things, and it's a valid criticism. Mine is just that it's so boring. Like, can you imagine trying to be like the edgelord in Hollywood now when everything's been done before?
I've
like,
always said if it's
Madonna and Britney, we just literally talked about Tucker Carlson and Britney Spears having an iconic interview from 20 years ago talking about this exact thing. And it's like, imagine you have to be that poor person who has to come up with this show, and he's like, ugh, nobody cares about the gay stuff, nobody cares about the sexual stuff, nobody cares about the devil worship. Like, they can't find any way to... The only way to actually be edgy would be to show like a Christian family on stage. Like, they would have to reenact Little House on the Prairie for it to be subversive in any way.
They'd have to invite Ballerina Farm.
Duck Dynasty
like, get anyone talking.
Like, I just imagine, like, look, we've done 843 episodes of the show, and there are days, like, I was just reading this thing about Melanie Linsky talking about how female villains, she was talking about Yellow Jackets, how female villains get a worse rap than male villains, and I just sighed really deeply, and it was just like, I can't.
Yeah.
And I imagine that whoever the degenerate in chief is at this award show, whoever's in charge of the degeneracy, as somebody who doesn't care about degeneracy, like, he's got to be bored.
Yeah.
He's like, they're like, so what if she like kisses a bunch of people on stage, and they're like, whoa, and he's like,
right.
We need new degeneracy. Like, it's getting old. We need some degeneracy
I think
DLC.
It's gotten to the point where even the celebrities are bored of themselves, and they don't even care about all of this pomp and circumstance around these awards ceremonies.
I think that the actors do. I still think that the actors love this stuff.
Well,
because there's more social messaging in the movies than there is in the music.
I don't know. I think we would disagree about this, but my hunch is that for the celebrities, these award shows are kind of like the Office Christmas party, where like you go because you have to go and make an appearance and network and, you know, do the interviews and you have to do it. It's part of the job, but you kind of eye roll after a while. And I think it's gotten to the point where they're just like tired of it. They're even tired of themselves. And I'm not so sure J-Lo even performed in person for these people at the award show, because as you can see, Gwen Stefani's live performance was just played on a screen in front of people. She wasn't even there.
It's probably AI.
Yeah. Like, I don't even know what is this.
She was busy doing stuff for the Hallow app.
They recorded her performance in like an empty room and then played it later on.
That's what they did. That's what they did during COVID.
Fake.
Yeah.
That's what they did during COVID. One of my favorite things was when back in the day, WWE, they did an empty arena match with The Rock and Mankind. It was one of those brutal things you've ever witnessed in your entire life. And the whole point is just they're in an empty arena hitting each other in the head with chairs. And that's kind of where we're at now, where they did that during COVID, where they had to wrestle in front of like an empty arena. And it was really unnerving because they'd have to put fake crowd noise in.
Yeah, yeah.
Otherwise, it's just dead silence and people grunting.
Well, I think like Tim Dillon's talked about this, how like a big problem is that LA is just on the decline. And it's like the energy you're surrounded, I hate to get all like esoteric, but the energy you're surrounded by really does come out in your work. And it's like when you see what's happening in Austin with all these comics and the Rogan sphere, there's some energy. It feels like something big's gonna happen
because they made the move,
because Austin's on the way up and LA is on the way down. So it's like you're surrounded by decline, so obviously like the product's gonna decline.
Not to mention it costs a gazillion dollars to do anything in LA anymore.
Yeah, how are you supposed to get fired up for a bathroom selfie when you just stepped over a bunch of homeless people?
That's another
Well, they clear them out the week before.
Right, hey, can you stop shooting up for a second? We're trying to get the shot.
No, they say, can you shoot up over there? Like, you have to be at least a mile down the road.
There are like homeless people shooting up in the bathroom at the Met Gala because they can't expel them.
So yesterday we were walking through Frederick and there was definitely like a homeless guy on top of one of like the pillars in front of one of the buildings, and he's just baking in the sunlight. And Olivia's like, she's like, is he dead? And I'm like, no, I saw him breathe, but I'm gonna be real. I didn't see him breathe. I just was making sure that nobody's.
He's probably more alive than a lot of people.
She shouldn't ask him a question.
She asked me that. She did not address him.
Gotta make sure she doesn't engage.
I mean, I felt for the like he very clearly had track marks on his arm. And he was shirtless, and it was just beating sundown on him. And that's what it is in LA. They have to walk over that guy to get to the award show.
The biohackers have spoken up, and they've said homeless maxing could actually help with a lot of health problems because they're getting a lot of sun. They walk around a lot. They don't ever have headphones in. They're not on the internet. There's no blue light.
I remember this.
Yeah, homeless
clip
maxing.
from Alex Clark's podcast where she's talking to some, I don't know, health influencer about like, why is it that I have so many friends who are trying to conceive right now and they're having infertility issues, but then the homeless crack addict on the street, she's getting pregnant with no issues. And this expert tells Alex Clark in the clip, oh, it's because the crack addict is in her divine feminine. She's stress-free. She's doing whatever she wants, and that's why she has such an easy time getting pregnant. I'm sorry, we're getting sidetracked again.
Yes, we are.
I also wanted to mention that the Swiftie fandom was incredibly disgruntled after the AMAs because Taylor Swift was absent. And also, for the first time in 18 years, Taylor did not win a single AMA she was nominated for.
The patriarchy reasserting itself.
Meanwhile, it just seems kind of rigged because Billie Eilish won all 7 of the AMA categories that she was nominated for: Album of the Year, Song of the Year, Artist of the Year, Favorite Female Artist, Pop Song of the Year, Pop Album of the Year, Favorite Touring Artist. So that seems kind of rigged. I would imagine
Sabrina Carpenter would have won some of these.
She wasn't even there. So I guess if she had any award to accept, they wouldn't have televised it anyway. And people were expecting Taylor Swift to announce the Reputation album, Taylor's version, her re-recorded album. But she's gone through a pause where she released 2 in 2021, another 2 in 2023. People are waiting for another 2 in 2025, and there's nothing being announced from her. And I think that it's because of
Donald Trump.
A rumor.
Yeah, it's because Kanye.
You
She's
sent
scared.
to me last week. Page 6 reported that Taylor Swift's masters for her first 6 albums are back up for sale, And Scooter Braun is reportedly encouraging Shamrock Capital to sell her discography back to her for $600 million to $1 billion. And Shamrock Capital first bought them from Scooter Braun back in 2020. So if she has the opportunity to buy back her old discography, why would she bother continuing to re-record them other than just for publicity's sake?
No, it makes tons of money because buying it back, then what is she? There's no way to re-release that in like the 90 different versions she does with like regular vinyl, crimson vinyl, colored. Like there's no branding ability for
like
her to do
32
that.
different
it's
Taylor's versions.
Well, it's ostensibly turns it into a brand new album
Right.
because of it's not a brand new album in the sense that the music is different, but it's a brand new album in the sense that the marketing opportunities that it opens up. Like, what is she going to call it? The reacquired version? Like the legal version?
And they've
Taylor
been
Swift under new
boycotting.
management.
Yeah.
They've been boycotting the original recordings for so long at this point. I don't know if anyone would catch up.
I do love the meme that's just like listening to the original version to cancel out a Swifties.
Yeah.
I do that.
Yeah, me too. The original ones are way better.
I
It's just mixed
defiantly
better.
listen to the Big Machine Records versions
There you
of
go.
all of it. But
The capitalist version.
Yeah.
yeah, I
Shamrock maxing.
I know we
I
disagree
hope
on
there's
this.
a leprechaun for their logo. I hope Shamrock Capital has like a greedy looking leprechaun
Yeah.
with gold coins.
Well, I know that we disagree on this, Brett, but I do think that this is evidence that celebrities are retreating from award show regalia.
I think that the actors the musicians might be away from it, but I think the actors still love it because they do still see their work as so deeply important to society that they miss no the same way we talk about when they hold these women's summits and they're all drinking champagne as they toast to their own greatness. I think they love it. I think I think it does help them because it benefits them to network, but they love to go out and talk about how great they are.
But I do
still believe
think
that.
pomp and circumstance is down across the board. Like the NFL can't get guys to show up to the draft anymore, so they all set up cameras at their houses.
Yeah.
And so it's like I think everyone's just kind of like gotten used to the stay-at-home post-COVID world, and award shows are kind of tacky now, and
Yeah.
it's just moving
Especially
that
with the
direction.
A-listers, I think they think it's not worth it for their careers because they have social media. So anytime they want to promote themselves, they can use their own platform. And then the people who use those award shows for the actual purpose of networking and getting their name out there are people that no one cares about.
I mean, if you're going to win an award, it still benefits you to be there to accept it in person if you actually win it so that you can give your speech rather than have your agent do it or
Yeah.
whoever.
I mean, not if you're Sabrina Carpenter, because she
Again,
didn't show up.
I'm speaking more for actors rather than musicians. Like, plus there's like 9,000 award shows anyways. Like, who actually cares?
I think that they're thinking the same thing.
I think the Golden Globes and the Oscars are always going to have rich, vapid celebrities show up. Though they've tried to cut out the politics from it in recent years. That's because ever since Israel-Palestine started, they've kind of sectored off their messaging, and they don't want to have people going in opposite directions. I saw they mentioned Kalani was like talking about Palestine on the red carpet of the AMAs because she was like she had some performance banned in like Central Park because of her messaging recently.
Okay.
Something like that.
I didn't see that.
In the headlines on that were very leading, and the media didn't do its job to be unbiased in that. But the point is like you can't, know for sure that they're not going to say something stupid. Also, I feel like it would actually be harder to get musicians than actors because musicians are on tour a lot.
But I also don't have any specific example in mind, but I've heard small-time celebrities complain about award shows because they have to fund it all themselves.
Yeah.
You have to make sure that you have, your own lodging, your own transportation. You have to pay for the designer gown and all the jewelry
You, like,
and the
rent the
makeup
gown
and the
and the
hair,
makeup and
the
stuff
whole
like that.
team and the social media promotion. Like, that in and of itself is like a side hustle.
I mean, that's
that they
why
don't
they-
want to deal with.
It's why when they talk about actors, like it seems like they have a lot of money, they don't, because the job that they have actually requires them to spend a crap ton to stay relevant, like those award shows.
Oh, I spent all
We
my
have
money at the Glorp Awards.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.